Well, it looks like we're live now. Hi, everybody. Greg D'Amico here. I am the founder of Efficience, a software company. We do a lot of mobile app e-commerce development. And I have a team in India. Went to India in 2004. Set up an office over there. That was after having a career in financial world. I did money management and started a mutual fund back in 95 and rode that wave up in the late 90s to some really nice successes and then rode it back down again. So my background is actually business, entrepreneurialism, financial, running businesses in the sense of overseeing strategy and hiring people that play to their strengths. So with that, I've done it quite a few times before in a little bit more detail, but that's a good general intro for any new people out there in the AO world. But good morning, good evening to wherever you are and whenever you're watching. And I'm going to get started here. I've got quite a few questions, so I'm jumping into them here pretty quickly. So Matthew asked, how do you approach a business partner when your responsibilities have become more than the original agreement for a percentage in the company? Business description and background question. Our company sells a bike product that creates sparks as you do wheelies. I was invited to start the business and lead the product development for a 12% stake in the company. Now, my business partner has me doing website design, graphic design, sales portals, customer support, and shipping, along with designing our next round of products. How do I approach the conversation that this was not in the original agreement of our responsibilities for 12% of the business? And what is an appropriate compensation to ask for? Or is it best to be happy with my percentage and do everything I can to make the business a success? So, Matthew, I would say that it's best to have a conversation around this, to open up and express your thoughts, a little bit of your feelings, and kind of see where the direction goes. You want to have alignment. You don't want to be sitting in a place where you're out of whack relative to what you're feeling and what should be expected. And that happens, but a lot of times we get a little bit ahead of ourselves thinking that we should get more than we really should. So I've been in that situation numerous times, and here is, I guess, a little bit of thought on this. What would you, when you open up that conversation, what would you be asking for? You got 12% of the business right now. What is it that you want? A lot of times, things like this could be handled in the form of the salary part of it. So are you receiving a salary? Okay, so you talked about compensation as the form of 12% of the business, but are you getting paid to do any of the duties that you are looking to do? And if you are, then can that be adjusted to reflect what you are doing with the work that's involved here? So you said a lot of additional things. I see that. We also need to remember that when we start businesses that we wear many hats, and we carry out a lot of responsibilities that need to be done, from picking up the garbage to cleaning the place to making sure that you have the supplies necessary when you go shopping to clean and to keep everybody productive and moving forward. So there's just a lot of hats that you have to wear as a business owner. So your partner may be of the mindset that he's thinking of it that way, and that you're getting this 12%, which could be a big number in the future, but hey, we need to do everything we can be doing right now. So just opening up that conversation to where you are can help give you some direction. But I would look at it in a lot of the situations is it an equity thing? And maybe he may say that, well, I see your point, and I see that maybe we should give you a little bit more equity. Or he may say, well, we're paying you this amount. Maybe we should be paying you a little bit more. Or right now the business doesn't have that money to be paying you. We need to reinvest or take everything that we're getting in and invest it into the marketing side and the sales side of things so we can grow this thing, and see what that means from the perspective of ownership or compensation. So I need more information to kind of guide a little bit more from what my experience have been. So for now, though, having a conversation is the most important thing you could do to see where you can get alignment and see where that conversation could lead. Follow up if you do get more information and would like to look at this a little bit more in depth. Next question. Bob Guerrier. Bob asks, how should I approach price point testing when my primary pricing consideration, customer acquisition cost, is unknown? Okay. Business description and background of the question. In the spring, I tested my SAT prep software at $249 price point and did not generate any sales. During testing, I uncovered a similar product that is free. I do believe I have valuable differentiators for this product, and I want to test the market at a lower price point, maybe around $30 to $50. Elevator pitch. Experts SAT Math is a membership-based website which helps high school students realize their goals and dreams through mindset and incentive-based SAT Math prep. So, Bob, I would look at on here of doing some A/B testing. Okay, A/B testing in the world that of software or in marketing, you're putting something out to a group of people that does one thing, and then to a completely different group of people you say and do something else. Like Amazon does this a lot. They put out a product, or they put out something to their customer base that is selling a product for a certain amount, and they do it to a different customer base selling it for another amount, and they see which one sells more. Or they structure the commentary of how they put out the ad, that how this ad does this, and this ad, or this product does this product does that. And over here, they'll may say it differently and turn the words in a way that they're trying to pinpoint a target audience or something in a different way that appeals more to them, and see what kind of response they get. So with that, I would look at doing some things that could help you in that area. I'd also look at how do you sales differentiate. There's a great book out there in a new version. Lee Saltz, SALZ, wrote a book called Sales Differentiation, and he just put out a new version of it with more examples and so forth. It's on the bestsellers list right now. And Lee's, I've worked with Lee personally. I brought him in to speak. He's phenomenal, and so forth. So he gets into a lot of examples that actually help you look at how you differentiate your product so you can get the higher prices that you're looking for, and how you can show people that you're creating value for them. And it's really all about the presentation of it, and more so than it is in the actual product that you're offering. So if you got something that is free that's similar to yours, but you say you have valuable differentiators, what are they? One thing I noticed in what you said in your elevator pitch, that this is a membership-based website. Okay, that is something that's attractive. When you have a membership-based site, as opposed to somebody just offers a product and they're buying that product and they get it, your membership-based site has a collective, as a network of people. That network can be very valuable to each new member and all the existing members through the interaction of that network. How are you portraying that group of people that in that membership to interact in a way that they can create value for each other, which creates more value for you, which makes your product more valuable, which makes it also a better differentiator. So I would look into that. I would think about that in that way of testing the marketplace for what you have out there with some different pricing, and looking at maybe different target markets to go after. And then also look at how your membership site can create more value using the network effect of the group. Network effect is a word that is used, and some people don't zero in on it. So let me help you with this. If you remember the old fax machines that we used to have, that if you had one fax machine, there's no value to it because you can't fax anybody else, right? It's your machine sitting there, and who are you going to send a fax to? As more nodes, or more, in this case, more fax machines come online, you have more people that you can fax to, and they can fax to you, and there's more of this network effect going on where you have a node, a node, a node, a node, a node, and they're all interacting, and what you have is an exponential rate of growth when you start multiplying out the number of connections. As each person comes on board, they can not only connect with you, but they connect with all the other people, which adds to a level of growth that they call exponential. So I would say with your type of site, adding value to your membership based on this group and this network, so that you can that each one of their comments or their sharing or what they're doing to help themselves with this SAT process could create a lot more value. Do you create a form in there? Do you create a form for discussion and so forth? You may have that, but just trying to prod you with things that could work. Hope that helps, Bob. Next question. Next question is AJ Colts, and AJ asks, how do you overcome fear of disappointing people? Okay. Well, I'm not a psychologist, but I've had a lot of interactions with people, so let's see if we can help. Business description and background question. I constantly struggle with the balance of standing up for the best interest of my business and family versus telling people things that I'm afraid will disappoint them. What tactics, mindsets, strategies do you use to help yourself say what truly needs to be said and accept whatever the outcome is? Thanks. Hi, AJ. I have similar issues. I grew up with a father that was very strict, and I was really scared to say things that needed to be said because I was a fear of what would happen, what would be the consequences. So that has created an environment for me that being out there when employees were off base, weren't getting it done, weren't doing things, I hesitated to tell them because I didn't, I had this built-in side of me that had a fear there. So what would usually be an outcome for me is that I wait till it made me so angry that I had to say something. And then that anger sometimes flowed into a good conversation, and sometimes the anger brought it out in a way that created a bad connection between the person that I was working with, a bad, mindset about what I was trying to present instead of being positive about it. So I realized that after many years of having lots of trouble, a lot of losses, a lot of business, and not getting to where it needed to go, losing lots of money, that my waiting till I got angry about something before I said it wasn't the right thing to do. So I realized that when I get this feeling in my gut that it's not right, this relationship is not right with this employee or even with a client, that something needed to be discussed and brought up. And I got to where I just sat down with people and said, hey, something's going on here. What's happening on your side? I want to know where you're coming from. And then I want to share where I'm coming from so that we can kind of work to alignment. A lot of the times those conversations will go pretty well when you're trying to get somebody, hey, what's going on with you? If that person's not performing, then hey, what is it about going on with your situation? You got something personally going on. A little bit of empathy, a little bit of interaction, and trying to understand that person will get you a long way to leading down to a path of where their real issues are, and then potentially how you can help them solve those problems or solve those issues that help you both get to the place that you are trying to get to. So let's see what else. So I would also just maybe put it out there to see what other things you could be doing that would help resolve it, in the form of maybe talking to a few other people in your network. If you have a forum group like an EO, I'm an EO entrepreneurs organization, and putting it out there and discussing some things with them to bounce off some ideas about having a problem with an employee. This is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? To see where people are coming from, to make sure that you're not off base in your thinking. That could be helpful in how you get out and how you approach that. Some of the other things here, your tactics, mindset, strategies, that's kind of, I've wrapped up a lot of those with what I do, and that hopefully some of that stuff will help. So good luck with that, AJ. Next question, Carrington Crothers. Carrington asks, how do you know if having a business partner is the right decision for your business? Business description and background question. I am a commercial product photographer, and the other day I had someone approach me with a pitch to partner with me on my business. I know they have a solid photography background, but I don't know how to know if or when those decisions are made up or the steps that are taken to come to a decision. I feel I'm in a position where my business is slowly starting to take shape and get traction, but this pitch caught me off guard and I don't know what to think about it. Okay, so Carrington, um, I've had numerous partnerships and found that when I looked at doing business, that I got an understanding over time of what my strengths are, and then I got in I was able to look and see what other people's strengths are and how you can match those strengths up so that you're playing to help each other. You're having, one plus one doesn't equal two, it equals four, five, or 10, because those two coming together create so much value that it helps to go in a direction that you wouldn't be able to go otherwise. And so, what do they have? What does this person bring to the table? Do they bring capital? Do they bring knowledge? Do they bring process improvements? Do they bring financial? Do they bring financial capabilities like, COO or type material, or CFO type material, I should say, like being able to do the accounting or being able to understand that financial side of things, or in sales, a huge sales capability. Okay. Another value aspect would be their potential sales distribution opportunities. Do they have a network of people? Do they have a client base already that could be valuable to you to help distribute what you're doing? And if you got something different than what they're doing, then you bring them on board. They have a whole base of people that you can be selling your product to. Does that have the ability to escalate your sales in a much more dramatic fashion than they already were? So I'd be asking yourself those questions, and I would be trying to find possibilities there. I have a partnership with Eric Maddox. Eric is the guy who used empathy-based listening when he was doing interrogations for the military to capture and lead down a path of interrogations to lead to the capture of Saddam Hussein. Eric is a very impressive person, and he's an amazing keynote speaker. And we partnered to build out a product to teach people how to do this. Now, Eric has the strength of all this history of interrogations. He learned interrogations from the military and so forth, and he was able to take that and he was able to parlay that into something else. I just closed down my email so we stopped getting those beeps. So he was able to take that and do great things with it. So when I approached him about saying, hey, I got some ideas of how to scale what you're doing empathy-based listening wise, and what if we created videos to put this out there, he was like of the mindset, wow, that's pretty, that sounds attractive. Well, how do we do it? And he looked at what I could bring to the table with a network of people, with a financial background, with numerous business successes and so forth, and a combination of what he was doing. He did something very well. He knows that he's not good at the sales and marketing, so together our partnership adds value to each other and creates the opportunity of getting something out there that wouldn't have been put out there before, and to expand it in a marketplace that could have a very attractive results. So one of my I guess examples of partnerships. I got many others, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of understanding of what to be looking for in somebody. If they don't add value to you, and they don't in some way, they don't have a strength to play that you're lacking, then I would say stay out of the partnership, because partnerships have challenges to them. They add a lot of value when you pull people together with strengths, but they also, working with people is difficult. Being your own boss is very attractive. You can make the decisions. Now, if you're not having successes and not making good decisions, then you may need a partner. But if you're doing good things and putting it out there, then why this person should fill some key thing to be of significant value to you before you would want to add them as a partner. Okay? So hope that helps, Carrington, and good luck with that, considering that potential strategy partnership. Next question is Brad Coleman. Brad asks, how do I figure out the next steps when I'm lost in taking the company to the next level? Business description and background of question. Hello, we have talked about foundation before and taking steps to building a brand and brand awareness. I feel as of right now, I am just starting to get traction with my target audience, meaning followers on social networks, people interacting with me online, feedback on my products, face-to-face interactions at shows where I get all good responses and reactions, as well as sales. starting to pick up, as well as sales starting to pick up, and people wearing my apparel. How do I know what the next step is, or should I keep doing what I'm doing and slowly continue, let it all fall into place? Elevator pitch. My name is Brad Coleman, founder of Carbon Thread Designs, a luxury auto sports appeal fashion brand that creates and designs appeal for the auto enthusiast while incorporating carbon fiber into our designs. That's a pretty wordy elevator pitch there, Brad, and I'll talk next time about how to do a good elevator pitch, the key components of it that's really simple and clean. So, but for now, that gives me some insight as to what you're doing and how you're doing it. So, taking a company to the next level would be, if you're feeling that there's something missing out there as far as taking a company to the next level, as opposed to seeing that strategy and seeing that your world as where the next step should come from, then it's a matter of gaining knowledge in your space, in your world, putting it out there in the universe that you're looking for something. So talking about it, and having that conversation in your head, having it verbally with nobody around, just as you're putting it out there. And what knowledge do you need to be gaining? So can you do that in the form of books? Can you do it in the form of webinars? Can you do it in the form of coaches? Okay, so you seem to have this, I would say, kind of like a internal gut check that's telling you that you want to take it to the next level, but you're not sure how to approach that. And there are the resources out there for you to do it. So it's a matter of putting things out in your world. You can use social media to put out some of your thinking that you're trying to accomplish to help maybe attract some people to you. But more so, I would be looking at, okay, I want to take my business to the next level. My business is in this world. Do some Google research to find out what about your world and what business that you or what knowledge you feel that you're lacking, and then go out and get that. What book do I need to read? Is it a Good to Great by Jim Collins of how to build businesses and what the right businesses that had success, that had a peer group that went to the next level, like Walgreens and I think it was Eckert Drugs, or maybe it was CVS at the time. CVS has turned things around for them and doing really well. But over a period from like the 80s into 2000s, Walgreens had a trajectory. Like the stock market went like this. Its sister companion company, I will say CVS, went like this. It may not be, but Walgreens went like this. Okay, so it was a huge division of what the market did in general, what its sister company did, and what Walgreens did that created a huge growth. And Good to Great was a book that did that with like 10, 11, 12 examples of companies that had this breakthrough performance and what they did different than what other companies did. So I'm not saying that Good to Great is the book for you, but I'm using it as one of the key business books that is a foundational book for knowledge about what are the right components to have as a business. I'm not sure, it may spark some things in you if you read it, but there's other books out there that are more appropriate for what you're trying to do of taking it to the next level. And as I said, just putting it out there in the universe to see what book is it, what webinar, what coach that you may need to be talking to, working with to help get you to the next level. Hope that helps, Brad. Okay. Rajesh Wajani asked the question, how can I find a suitable marketing co-founder for my startup? Okay, so kind of getting some similarity in some of the questions here, and we'll get into that. So, clarification, I'm working on an app which students can get fluent in English online. We give Zoom-based classes to students where there are 5 students in a class, so all of them get to talk and practice a lot during the session. The concept is getting very good reviews from the students, and I'm thinking it has a big potential for a worldwide audience. We have 2 branches filled so far. 2 batches filled so far, but there is scope to fill lots and lots more batches. My challenge is that I am software engineer by profession. I enjoy the product building part more than the sales and marketing part. So even though I've done the sales for the first two batches, I want to focus more on coding development and product, as that comes more naturally to me as compared to marketing campaigns, conversion rates, etc. Any ideas of how I could find a partner to complement my skills, as well as do's and don'ts to watch out for in that regard, will be helpful. So, Rajesh, the previous questions I answered is kind of some keys to what you're asking about. And I would also, on top of that, like when I was saying previously about playing to your strengths, what are your strengths that you are providing? And of course, from what you said, it's you're the software side of things. So what is the other side that matches up with you that is important? So I'm a business guy. I have a software company. Okay, I don't code. So I hired people here in the U.S. and from there we went to India and to hire people in India that could help us scale the business more affordably and be able to allow us to charge prices that were going to be attractive for clients to pay. And in doing so, I was able to play to my strengths of being the business guy, looking at talent and having a strength to know what people's figuring, helping people with or helping our company figure out what other people's strengths were that they could be placed in our company, put them on the right seat on the bus, as Jim Collins would say in his book Good to Great. So defining exactly that profile of what that person looks like. Okay. What is it that you're looking for? Is it the sales and marketing side of things, or is it something else that that person may be overseeing the business in some way while you do this? They may wear multiple hats, but you're going to design that profile out of what it looks like. You're going to write it out. You're going to put the responsibilities. You're going to put the certain practices that they're going to be doing. You're going to put their strengths in it, okay? And you also may want to check it relative to your core values. All companies should have a 4, 5, 6 core values of what defines who they are. And there's exercises to do on this, and I won't get into that now, but you take your core values and you make sure that you're matching your core values to a person that you're going to hire. Do they resemble? Are you about learning? If one of your core values is constant learning, which is one of mine for efficiency, is then are they a constant learner? Do they talk about things and demonstrate things in a way that means that they're always trying to gain more knowledge? They're always trying to learn more. And so play to those like, key core value for the EO network is trust and respect. And in that, are you a member that is coming to the table with trust and respect, or you're not? If you're not, then you shouldn't be in the organization, and other members should make sure that there's changes there that account for that. So core values are important. It's a much different discussion, but I would prepare this profile in relationship to making sure that they have this outline. And it's like a one page where you would put together all these things. It's not just a couple words or a couple sentences. It's a page of that fully fills out who this person is that you're trying to get to, or trying to find, and then going out and seeking them. Now, how do you do that? Well, I would talk to friends. I would look at say LinkedIn, and maybe do a search on LinkedIn. Once you know the profile of what you're looking for, there will be keywords that you can go through and circle in that profile and put those keywords into a match or search in LinkedIn to find some people that represent that. Okay. But putting it out in your social media network too, like, hey, I'm looking for a person that is like this and like this and like this, relative to the profile you create. And then getting those key things that are most important to you in that profile and putting them out there to see about attracting somebody into your world. So I think the social media and the LinkedIn side of things are pretty important for finding people, and it's also your personal network. Getting it out and letting people know. Hey, you say you're looking for somebody, offer somebody $100, offer your friends and family $100 Starbucks card or something. If they could give you some names of some people that would potential hire, and that if you hire them, you're going to give them, like a finder's fee or something to incentivize them a little bit. Hope that helps, Rajesh. Good luck with finding that person. Okay, so Kristen Pitts, for our next question, asks, what is the right way to start a new business under another business? Business description and background. I have an apparel company, LLC, and plan to invest in a food truck business for my stepsister to run. I have an LLC. If I have an LLC, can I set up a DBA for the food truck for what is the best route? DBA is doing business as. Okay, so they may have an existing company and they can set up another checking account as doing business as food truck company. So I would, in my experience of setting up multiple businesses over the years, I would set up the separate business as its own LLC. Okay, one, you want to provide some protection for you, and you want to outline under that LLC what is going to be in the operating agreement, what is going to be the role you're going to play and the role that your stepsister is going to play, so it's very clear and there's not a lot of ambiguity about it. Okay, when you get family involved, things can get messy, and people come back with, what, I thought you were going to do this, I thought you were going to do that. I've done it quite a few times, and it's always seems to what you assume everybody else should know, they don't, and they think differently. And so it really needs to be outlined if you're going to have success. You said you were going to invest in the food truck. Okay, so what's that investment look like, and then what's that role going to play? Are you going to, what percentage are you going to own, and then what is the responsibilities and roles of your stepsister to go out and make this business successful? How much time and effort are you supposed to be in that business? How are you going to help them? So lots of things to be asking there. So you want to create as much protection and oversight and create metrics. You're the investor. You're the person with money. So you got to create guidelines on how you see success with this business going. And if they're not meeting that, then what would the changes be? What adjustments would you make? And that should be outlined in the beginning. Sometimes you can't think of everything, but it's important to think as much as possible. I had a couple cousins that came to me during my investment days. I had a lot of was making a lot of money, a lot of valuation for my business, and they wanted to start a what they called me and mommy to be. So sales of clothing for pregnant moms and then their new infants. And so they wanted money. I gave them like $25,000, something like that. And they went out and just, there were two young girls that went out and went down to Atlanta marketplace, and they just bought everything in sight without a lot of thought about what would sell, what were the demographic of the people they would be selling to in their local marketplace, Knoxville, Tennessee, and so forth. And I gave them a bunch of suggestions on things that they should be doing. You guys, this was back in the late 90s when the internet was coming on board and email was getting kicked in, or had been kicked in by that point, but was really just growing as a marketing tool. So that everybody that comes in the door, you should be getting email addresses so you could send out promotions to them and offerings to get people in the door. They didn't listen to anything I said. Okay, and so I lost all my $25,000. And I didn't create the metrics around how this should be measured. I didn't give them more direction of what this money would mean and so forth. And I asked them to come to me when they needed help. They never came to me. They just worked it till the business basically was taken over by somebody else, and they actually made a success of the business. So there's a lot of trouble that could come with relationships with partnerships and relationships if it's not spelled out clearly about who's doing what, and especially when you're making an investment in something, who is going to be accountable for those dollars that you're putting into that business. So good luck with that, Kristen, and hopefully you guys will have success with that new endeavor. Okay, so AJ Couts again asked the question, how would you pursue an overdue accounts receivable with a client? Business description and background of question. A former client owes us about 1.5 months of retainer for work performed in good faith. I've pursued this for about 2 months and they haven't responded to my inquiries. In hindsight, I shouldn't have carried on in good faith for nearly that long before ending the retainer. But I was caught off guard because things were running well, it seemed. What do you do in situations like this? Well, as I've said quite a few times in the past, best course of action is sit down and talk to somebody about it. Okay, so you said you reached out. It sounds like you may have reached out to them a few times. Does that mean you reached out in a phone calls or emails or what? So I would say that reaching out so that you structure it and say, hey, I have some bills to pay. I have some employees to pay. I could use your help in getting this accounted for. So what can we do to work this out? I'm flexible. I can be flexible. So how can we talk about it and making this happen so it meets both of our needs? And seeing what type of response you get. If you're just calling and they're not answering and you're not leaving a voicemail or so forth, hey, this is AJ. Call me back, please. I need to talk to you. Give a little bit more of a connection to what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to get somebody to see your side of things and presenting that to them in the voicemail or in the email so that they take action and connect with you. Okay. Now, sometimes that doesn't work. Okay. People are like, I'm not paying this. I was either unhappy with the performance or I just don't have the money right now. And you have to figure out where they are with that. And whatever clues that happened in the previous conversations, they said it was going well, so I assume they were happy with the work. But what is it and where was it going? So after that, what do? You get an attorney send a letter. You only do that though if you feel that they have the resources to pay this, because there's no reason to go spend money for an attorney and have to write a letter and send it to them, and without knowing that they have the money to pay this obligation. If they're a bigger company, they have plenty of resources, then I would send the letter and have that. That usually kicks people into action. Okay, you can accomplish a lot with a good attorney writing a structured letter that makes the point that this is due as an obligation, it's contractual, and they need to pay it, or steps will be taken. So that would be my recommendation. And yeah, like I made a note here, do they have the resources to pay? That's a very key point. And there's no sense of putting more energy and effort and expense into something that's not going to get paid. Okay, and it's important to know that and to just learn that this is business. We made mistakes, and you have to write it off and you have to move on. Okay, it's like losing a client. You put a lot of effort into getting that client. You did work for the client, and then the client wasn't happy, and they leave. Well, that's very costly, and we want to try to do everything we can to keep clients happy and to make sure that we're communicating with them to know where they stand at any particular time. So, good luck with that, AJ. Hope that creates some interaction discussion that leads to a better result. Okay, so Monica Redleaf asked the question, what are ways to validate your business idea? So, question or business description and background of question. I'm trying to validate a business idea, which is some type of ring and or bracelet to identify available single people looking for love out and about in their everyday lives. My original plan was to get feedback from 100 people and I've been unsuccessful at reaching 100 single people. Any fast yet effective ways to move forward? So, Monica, very key in saving ourselves a lot of time, effort, headache, money, and so forth, resources when we start business, is to not put out something that's in a prototype or is in a design type, is in a look-alike type of fashion, to get feedback on where you're going to take this before you design it all. So many people, I see this in the software world a lot, they want to build and spend all this money to build something, and when they think they get it built, they're going to make billions of dollars because it's such a great idea and a great product that everybody's going to want it. Well, there are ways in the software world to prototype out. You can code something that would look like a business process or program in software and make it look like it what you want it to do, but it doesn't actually accomplish what it is, but it looks like it and gives people a feel for what you're trying to offer them and an idea of how this would look to them and would it benefit them, and then get their feedback. And so in this space, do you have an actual design, physical, of the ring or bracelet, or do you have it designed in a on the computer where people can see that design? If you have that, then what I would do, if you don't have it, then I would do it. I would get it designed. I'd have somebody sketch it out on a piece of paper and put it on as a photograph online, so you can put it out to your network. But give somebody design this out, give it its feel, make it look as best as possible, colorful and so forth, so you create a real world aspect of how this would be used, and so on, and then put it out to your social media. Put it out to your network, Facebook, Instagram, so forth. Hey, I'm designing this, I'm putting it out. Is this something that you would use in this, if you're single, and even if you're not, if you were single, would this have been something that you would thought would be pretty cool and you would have wanted, and get the feedback. And this could save you lots of time, dollars, and effort into building it or creating the actual product that or service that you're going to offer, here in this case a ring or a bracelet, and having it created and built and then finding out that nobody wants it. So that is a good way to test the marketplace, putting out it into your world, and allowing the what I call collective intelligence to take place. Okay, we as individuals we're not as smart as a collective. And when you can get a network coming together of, like I said before, a bunch of nodes coming together to share knowledge and give feedback and interact with each other, you're going to create a higher level of thought than any individual can. So I would go after trying to put this out there in your network with an appropriate design and see what happens with that. Hope that helps, Monica. Next question is Kristen Pitts. Kristen asks, how do I learn to be happy in the present? Enjoy the journey. Business description and background of question. Struggling to stay patient. I want my 10-year plan to be here already. Things are going great and progressing, of course. No issues. Yet, I feel depressed and I'm broke. I want to be happier. Hi, Kristen. You are asking the question that everybody has dealt with at some point in their lives, some point in their career. And it's a tough one because we are all wanting this vision of our world that we want to live in to be here and now. And it's not. And when that happens, we can feel off kilter, out of sorts, just not anxious about where we want to go and trying to push the world to get it there. And when we do that, we're placing too much importance on things, and we're placing too much energy in an area that is going to lead to frustration for us. So what can you do? So I would suggest putting in some practices that allow you to be calm and present. Okay, how do you do that? There's breathing exercises. Some people call it meditation, but I like to call it breathing exercises because it's something that we do every day and is more appropriate. Sometimes meditation puts people into this is a different approach or religious mindset or something that's not out of my world. Well, it's not. We all breathe. It's universal. And in that process, when you do some breathing exercises, there's a very calming effect that comes over us and helps us to be more in the present. Okay, I've talked about this before, but a very basic meditation is breathing into a number, holding it to that number, and then exhaling to that number. So, like, we'll use the number 5. You would breathe in as you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your head. Okay, breathing in, you would be counting in your head, and then you would hold that breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, it's in your head, but I'm doing it to show an example, and then exhaling to that same number. Now, if 5 is your breath, it could be 6, could be 8, could be 10. Just it's your lung capacity and what you feel. Slowly try to take it in, hold it, and let it out. You do that like 5 to 6 times, cycles of that breathe in, hold, and let out. You will have a calming, comfortable, present effect come over you. Okay. Another way to do that is to be in nature. To walk through the woods is good. Walk in the mountains, walk by the beach, just getting into a park, just getting somewhere that allows for your feeling connected to your universe that would allow that present to take place. Another is to take your shoes off and go walk in the grass. Walk on something that's comfortable but is real and natural. And that's going to allow you to discharge energy and have that. We're all made up of energy, and if you can get rid of some of the excess energy by putting your feet in the ground for 15-20 minutes, you're going to have an overcoming. You're going to have a relaxation, a present effect come over you by doing so. So don't take my word for it. Just go try it yourself and see what happens when you do. Try the breathing exercise. See what happens when you do. See if that helps you. The last thing I would say to you, and of course this is for everybody. Kristen's asking a very good question here, and it's all we all have the we all have. I definitely was pushing and hard and so much. I realized that a lot of my pushing was allowed things to be pushed away from me. You don't want to put too much energy out there because you have an imbalance of energy when you do that, and you push things away. So another aspect of this would be to have a grateful mindset. Okay, that means being grateful for all the things you have. You said your business is good. It's on course. It's making progress. Think about that in a very significant way. When you're grateful for something, you're not worried about your scarcity of something. Okay, it pushes scarcity out of your mindset. So be grateful for what you have now. So you can even be grateful for the fact that you don't have any money. Okay, said, so you put the thankful out there to whoever you feel is your creator, maker, God, a person of that you look up to, whether it's Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, whoever it may be. That you just thank you, universe, for the fact that I don't have any money right now, because when I do, I'm going to appreciate it so much more. Okay, it may sound a little hard, but you put gratefulness into everything that you do. And I journal regularly about my gratefulness. And what does this do? It allows for us to be at a higher level of abundance thinking that attracts more abundance into our life. It's key. It's important. Everybody should have this practice, whether you're thinking about things that happen to you on a daily basis while you go to bed at night, or when you wake up in the morning. If you have a morning practice, that I would highly advise some type of reading, peacefulness, quiet time, breathing, any of that, or that walk that would put you into that realm. And whatever you decide your morning practice is to just put something together that allows you to be in this space so that you can take on the challenges of the day, take on the fact that it's not here right now, but when you think about your mindset of it's coming, then you can relax and allow it to happen. So hopefully that works. Start that journal, write it into it every day, and just think about everything. Grateful for this connection in my life, grateful for this new client that I have, grateful for how beautiful the day is, grateful for the rain that's coming right now and making everything, allowing everything to drink and to survive and live. Just whatever your world is, whatever's in it, I would put it out there to be grateful. And you're pushing away the scarcity side, attracting the abundant side to you, and maybe things will happen faster for you and get you where you want to go, because you're vibrating in a sense of abundance that is attracting more abundance to you. Okay, next question. Carrington Crothers asked, what is the best way to handle an upset client over an invoice reminder? Business background and description of the question. I am a commercial product photographer, and I have an automated email sent out reminding a client that invoice was coming due. The email was not well received. The client is pissed, and the marketing manager with the company emailed me asking me to email the owner and apologize for sending the reminder. What is the best course of action to take in a situation like this? Well, first of all, Carrington, I would say that you've got a client that is a little bit harder to probably work with because they're getting mad at something that's so minute. So I would look at it like this. I would get with that client, either phone call would be best, or sit down meeting, or if on the phone as opposed to an email. But email if you have to, if you can't get them on the line, and apologize for sending the email saying, sorry, it was automated in my system. That was just an automatic thing. It wasn't me thinking that you guys weren't paying and so forth. And I would even consider that that it didn't mean to insult them too. Okay, that you didn't. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. It's just automated. This is part of the process I have to try to make sure my cash flow stays in, so I can pay my people and pay my bills, and create the mindset that they are in. They're business owners, and they know that you have obligations to pay too. And when you remind people of those obligations, you're going to have a much better chance of building that empathetic connection, that they understand your situation, they want to help you, want to work with you more, and you'll find common ground that way. So I would also suggest that maybe you only send reminders. You turn off this email reminder, and you only send reminders if they haven't paid. Okay, this person may have been offended because they pay their bills all on time, and they don't want to be looked at as somebody who doesn't pay their bills. Could be the issue they are having, and that's the case. I don't send out email remind. I don't have my system, my accounting system. Xero is one I use. I really like it. It's very high tech, or it's very modernized for the high tech world. It was built in the information age, as opposed to QuickBooks that was built in the pre-internet days and then evolved into the internet days, internet and digital interaction, so to speak. So Xero is really good, but it doesn't matter. All the systems do this. You can have it send in reminders after the fact when they're not paid. If it's assumed you send out an invoice and your client history is that they pay within the time frame that they're supposed to pay, if it's 30 days and so forth, then don't worry about having reminders sent there as long as they're key employees. I have a few clients that just doesn't matter. They get the invoice and the time runs by. I just know that I have to, hey, how are we doing on that last invoice? And something happens. Oh yeah, okay, sending it, I'll send it over now, and so forth. They just put it off as long as possible, and they take as much as leeway as sometimes you'll give them. But so that's why maybe right after the day that it's due, if it's not been paid, then maybe, within 5 days you got an invoice reminder, and so on and so forth. I'm just throwing out some ideas to present challenges that can help mitigate people's thinking around this, and definitely want to have a conversation with them to clear it up and make sure that your system is turned off for that person to not receive reminders. Hope that helps, Carrington. Next question. Gabor Razi says, how do you deal with criticism of your product mentally? Business subscription and background. A question. Our company recently launched a subscription site that's better than anything else in our market by far. However, as can be expected, critics soon turned up in our inbox and the comment section. Some unfair criticism as well as fair criticism of things that we're currently fixing. But at the same time, we're talking about a brand new product that's less than a week old, so of course there are a few things here and there that need to be fixed and improved. I'm very good at responding to feedback like this and disarming arguments, but at the same time, I take the criticism very personally, and it's killing me inside. I appreciate any tips on how to deal with this on a personal level as well as in an official response. Well, same thing that I said to Kristen before. You got to think about how to chill a little bit about this with some of the your personal aspects, how to be calm, breathing exercises, so forth, so that you don't let this get to you. Okay, the nature thing, walking, putting your feet in the grass for a while, getting next to a big tree and putting your hands on the tree, feeling the tree's energy, so forth, could be things that will help dispel some of this anxiety or tension you're feeling over somebody's criticism. Another way to look at this, is like I said before, is to be grateful for this criticism. What if somebody sending you something allows you to think about your product, improve your product in a way that makes this wildly successful, and you have $1 billion company at some point in time? Okay, so it's just thinking about this in the right way so it doesn't bother you. Be grateful for these comments, for these criticisms, and also know that everybody's a critic. Everybody's going to say something about something. Every movie, good or that's really good or not, it's going to have critics associated with it. Some of the best movies, the highest grossing movies that so many people loved, had huge criticism. Um, Same with just life in general. So to try to dispel that a little bit and realize that criticism apart, but most importantly to you, that this criticism could be a key to the success, wildly successful opportunity that you could have with this product. Also remember that getting feedback from people and worrying about making a change to everybody's critique or comment about your product. Hey, it'd be better if it does this. Hey, I don't like the way it does that. So worrying about trying to change every single thing will push your product to a place where it's only good for a small number of people as opposed to the majority of the target market that you're going after. When you change so many things to account for small subsets and pockets of people just for their personal preferences, you could distort your product to a place that's not going to be welcomed by a large market share or marketplace that you want to get and build your market share. So keep the thinking to that, and just be open to this criticism and not let it get to you as much, because every time you get one, say, is this going to, say to yourself, is this going to be the comment that's going to change this product to make it a multi-million dollar success? Something like that to help alleviate. And look at that comment rationally and deal with it. And, like, hey, make the list. Hey, we just added your comment to the into the list of things that we're going to improve the product on, and so forth. So know that that person's comment has been taken seriously and that you responded to the person and you're getting them to make them feel like they're helping out and improving the product is a lot of what people want when they do criticize something. So hope that helps, Gabor. And last question here is Shelly Morrell, my friend and business partner. So I talked about partnerships before. I'm in partnership with one of your other AO mentors, and she was part of the AO group there for a while until she graduated. Question that she is asking is, what is your recommendation for handling the stress created from an employee mistake that you have to go back and fix? Business description and background. Question to the question is fire protection. As a fire protection contractor, I've just found out that an employee who is no longer with me has made a mistake in one of the sales tax rates for a particular city. I obviously can't write that person up or have a conversation. I want to scream right now. How do you handle this sort of stress? Well, probably writing this up, Shelley, was a little bit of putting it off your shoulders, but more so than anything else, just what I said in the previous comments about the calming effect, about the breathing exercises, about the gratitude of this situation. What did it find out for you? Was it a mistake that you realized that could have huge implications for your business, that could have put it under, as opposed to costing you some money right now? What can you find gratitude in that situation for? And a lot of times that just dispels the stress, puts it away, and changes our mindsets in a way that continues to keep us open to abundance instead of putting us into a vibrational mindset of scarcity. Remember, you are what you put off and the energy that you give off. If you are giving off a scarcity mindset, I don't have enough, I can't get this, I can't find any employees, I don't have any good employees, you're going to be putting off a vibration and energy level at a frequency that gets you the same thing. So you are what you complain about, and if you complain about it enough, you're putting that out there, and it's just going to attract more of what you're complaining about. Okay, so when you have that gratitude mindset, you have that opportunity for abundance, and you put yourself at another level that's going to attract great things to us. So being grateful for the bad things that happen to us, because they're giving us some lesson, some opportunity to be better, something else there, is a way to try to adjust and get rid of that tension that we have. So Scream also, let it out, and so forth, Shelley. So anyway, that's the questions for today. Hope these feedback has helped a little bit, or maybe a lot of it, and that I look forward to seeing you guys next time. And have a good day, good month, good year. Take care.